Welcome to another hard-hitting night of fun. Regular viewers know we are an unbiased show that sticks it to every politician the same. No softballs here. Please welcome our first guest, the President of the United States, Barack Obama.
Thank you very much. Thank you. You love me. You really love me. That's Bush's fault, you know. If he wasn't such a hateable right-wing nut job. But let's get back to me.
You know we don't lob softballs here, Mr. President, so I'm going to ask you some tough questions.
Go ahead. I'm ready. This is my time. This is our time. Our moment.
Do you think J-Lo is hotter than Michelle?
Wow. You weren't kidding. Is Momo watching? You know I. Listen, the thing is, wait, I can't hear myself thinking up an answer. I can't hear what the voice is saying. Hope and change.
Does that mean J-Lo?
I'm a politician. You know that means I have to know which one is watching before I can honestly answer. If Momo is backstage or tuning in, it's still Bush's fault.
Fair enough. Now another tough one for you. Wait for it. I have to ask this. Of which country are you a citizen?
You know. That's just a stupid question. I can't believe. That's just infuriating.
I have to ask because all those stupid birther Tea Party morons say you aren't from the United States.
It's just ridiculous that you would even ask. I mean, I know it took a couple of years. Didn't someone show a birth certificate that says it's mine? Had I known you were going to ask.
I'm sorry, sir. Forget I asked. We all know you would never be dishonest. We're just so used to the previous administration lying all the time.
You're forgiven. Say 10 Hail Obamas and go in peace. Seriously, I would never lie. By the way, did your assistant say I groped her? If she tells you that, she's lying.
Of course she is. It isn't like you're Bill Clinton. Let's move to another hard question. We know you've played golf once or twice since becoming president. What's your handicap?
What are you? Racist? You think because I'm black I'm handicapped? You crackers are all the same. You oppose my plans because you can't stand a black man in the White House.
I meant golf. Your golf handicap.
Oh, that. Let's just say I get better every day. I think I might have a course put in the Rose Garden after the 2012 election so I can play more than one round a day.
You ever get that not-so-fresh feeling?
Honey, I haven't had that fresh feeling since Nixon resigned. That was the last time I cleaned up down there.
Really?
I thought about it one time when I had plans to meet Bill in the Oval Office after hours, but then something came up between him and Monica and he brushed me off.
What should I do? It's itchy and burny and it feels like a herd of lobsters have sprung up down under.
Slap some gyno splat on there. Then put your feet up in stirrups and let that thing breathe for a few minutes.
That'll work?
Baby. It's that, or some WD-40 and duct tape. Your choice.
May cause rash, bleeding, swelling, bloated feelings, gas, diarrhea, weight gain, weight loss, depression, euphoria, suicidal tendencies and/or death. Contact a doctor immediately if you bleed for more than 24 hours, gain more than 500 pounds, lose more than 300 pounds or die. If you suddenly look like a Victoria's Secret model, call 555-1182.
We're back from commercial break, joined by presidential hopeful and Republican loon Mitt Romney. Seriously, he isn't as crazy as most people in the GOP race.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate you pointing out I'm not crazy. That's better than just coming out and saying I'm more progressive than most.
True that, home slice. We have to play to our audiences. I mean, I understand your point, Mitt. We must obey the will of the people.
Mitt, you know our mantra here, no softballs. What makes you think you'd be a better president than our current one, who is the greatest president since FDR?
Electing me would be like going back to '08 and electing progressive light John McCain. It's like taking back your vote and still getting someone who wants to force you to buy stuff.
Speaking of which, I appreciate all the input you gave me on that healthcare plan, Mitt.
Don't mention it. I just can't believe the people object to it. I mean, who doesn't want a bloated government telling them how to live?
Despite the polls, I sure didn't expect it.
We all know those not in the political class need someone telling them when to wake, what to eat, where to work, and how to behave. It's a terrible burden, but we must lead the sheep.
Excuse me. You know I'm still here and still the host, right?
Sorry about that. It's just that I'm passionate about winning. I promise I'll say or do anything I must to get in the White House.
I know that feeling. I started tasting it when I spoke at the DNC.
Mitt, what do you say to the nut jobs like Rick Perry who say you flip-flopped on your healthcare position?
I say he's right. But listen, the important thing is that I didn't actually change my position. So really, I have to say he's wrong. I never ever flip-flop. Except on occasion.
That's very wise, Mitt. As politicians, we have to know to whom we're speaking. Once we get their votes, we change our message for the next group. That's why Gitmo is still open.
I know you're a radical righty, but you are acceptable to those of us in the mainstream media because you tend to be progressive. So what about abortion? How do you feel about it?
I'd certainly never have one personally. I used to be fully supportive of them. Now that we've seen a shift in the public, I have to say I think Roe v. Wade should be.
What? Are you nuts?
Let me finish. I think it should be overturned and given back to the states. Let them decide if abortion is legal or illegal.
Wow. You are more of a Nazi than I thought. How will 13-year-old girls drive across state lines to get abortions without parental consent if they aren't legal in their state?
I tell ya, when I was your age I was ready to ride at the drop of a hat.
Motorcycles.
Your mom.
Grossed out. Stop.
But this dang erectile dysfunction really throws a boner in the spokes, so to speak. That's why I use 8-Up. It's crisp clean and keeps my lean machine mean.
TMI.
It happens to the best of us, son. Didn't I hear your girlfriend complaining it was over before it started the other night?
Are you listening at the door again?
Absolutely not. I heard her stomping out. Listen, when we get home, I'll give you an 8-Up. See what she thinks about your young manhood after that.
What out? I think I might need a 10-Up instead.
Sorry about that. Anyway, we're back from commercial with an absolute nutcase. This lunatic reactionary fool reads the Constitution and thinks it isn't alive. Welcome, Ron Paul.
Thanks for having me. What is so wrong with reading the Constitution?
You mean other than taking it literal and at face value? It's people like you who killed the Constitution by pretending it isn't alive.
As a constitutional scholar, I assure you it is alive. How else could we manipulate it and change it to fit our political needs? Do you know how hard it would be to get re-elected?
You are for legalized drugs, right?
Sure. Why not? The federal government doesn't belong in our bedroom or our living room. Of course, it doesn't belong in Afghanistan either.
I can get behind that, brother. We are not biased here, as you know, but the previous administration was nothing but a bunch of lying warmongering Republicans. You know our motto, there are no softballs lobbed here. What do you think about the Federal Reserve?
The Fed is a non-government agency that manipulates our currency and makes tons of money while destroying the average American. It's time we put an end to the Fed. At least audit it.
Don't you think that's a little reactionary? I mean, the Fed must be good. It was given to us by a progressive Democrat, Woodrow Wilson. I bet you try to roll back a bunch of progressive policies, wouldn't you?
Of course I would. If they aren't constitutional, why should we suffer them? Just like our soldiers shouldn't die in foreign unconstitutional wars in Iraq and Afghanistan.
We both know you can't unring the bell. We won in 1912 and with FDR. Why do you want to take us back to slavery?
Slavery? I only want people to be free. To live under the Constitution without fear of government.
I can tell you about fearing the government. My people were kept down by this government for centuries. Well, okay, not my people, because my dad was from Kenya and my mom was white. But you know what I mean. People of my color. Having lived in Indonesia when I was young, I understand the authentic African American experience. Unlike that nutty pizza guy.
I know, right? Can you believe Kane tries to act like he's black? Everyone knows he's just a Zionist Wall Street shill in a dark skin. These Uncle Toms tick me off.
It's amazing they're so brainwashed by the GOP they actually vote against their best interests. In this case, that is me, of course.
Don't you think living with less government is in everyone's best interest? Do we really need the Congress telling us how much water to use when flushing poop?
Shut up, you wacky right-wing nut. You just want deregulation so your Wall Street friends can profit. We'll be back after this commercial with another segment of Unbiased News.
Don't you look delicious?
How are you?
I'd love to take a bite out of you.
I know what you mean, girl. I'd slurp you down in a minute.
Hold your meat there. You're getting cheesy.
Don't be frigid.
I'm not. I just think we should invite everyone to join us.
You're right, sweetie.
Come down to International Delhi.
Se habla en español.
Thanks for sticking around for the last segment of Totally Unbiased News. With us now is that fanatical Christian wannabe tramp Michele Bachmann.
Excuse me?
All you conservative women are a bunch of wannabe tramps. You know it's true. Why do you fight it? You know we don't take sides here.
I just thought I'd at least get a fair introduction.
You thought? Conservative women can think? As for fair, I was exceedingly kind to you. But let's move on. You know our mantra about softball questions. They are not allowed here.
I'm ready for some tough questions.
I'm sure you're ready for something. How many kids do you have? Never mind, that wasn't the question. Let me get my mind out of the gutter. Isn't it funny that when my mind goes to the gutter it finds you there?
You're bordering on rude and distasteful. I came here to discuss the issues.
I'll tell you what is rude and distasteful. You're wanting to enslave everyone under some Christian law. That is one of the issues. You want a theocracy.
I don't want a theocracy. I want a prosperous America. I just don't believe the federal government can create jobs.
Wait a minute there, Michele. Look how many jobs I saved or created with stimulus.
Millions.
How many were actually created? And it would cost.
It's difficult to quantify how many jobs I created. I know we have some records showing a few thousand at a cost of a few $100,000 per job, but that is not accurate.
Very true. Many people were not reporting jobs you helped create because America is full of racists who just want to get the black man out of the White House.
It doesn't matter how many jobs this fella created, the free market could have done better with less money.
Let's just get to some fair questions for Michele. What is the instantaneous velocity of a quarter dropping from the Empire State Building at t equals 2.6 seconds?
I don't know offhand.
There you have it, America. This is a typical right-wing conservative bimbo. She can't even answer a simple question. How can anyone trust her with the presidency? Thanks for tuning in, America. As we have seen, there are some absolute wackos running against Barack Obama. Some are closet tramps dying to live a life of unabridged sexuality, but they are too repressed by Judeo-Christian mythology to enjoy their natural womanhood. Others are simply murderous bigots who want to return us to the days of Jim Crow and slavery. They do this under the label constitutionalism. At least there is some hope in the party of hopeless slave drivers. There are some progressives who realize America must become more like the socialist democracies of Europe if she hopes to stay a free America. In my unbiased opinion, the only hope we have is to stay the course with our current president, who is the greatest thing since the Bolshevik Revolution. We can only hope America will have sense enough to re-elect him. Power to the people.